Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, they just released the Errol Spence, Lamont Peterson final press conference. I checked that out today. It was definitely a good conference, good interviews. You know, good material from Errol Spence, Lamont Peterson, Derek James, and Barry Hunter. I'm definitely excited for this fight. You know, after these interviews, it definitely gives me even more respect for these two fighters and their trainers as well. Not saying that respect wasn't there previously. It's just been elevated to a whole new level. I like a lot of the questions from the people giving the interviews and questioning the fighters. A lot of them tend to pretty much put the other welterweights in the division on blast. And Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson both let the world know that they definitely have respect for each other. They definitely are aware that they both have a level of dog in them. They have a level of heart that apparently the other welterweights they don't have. They both stated that they wanted to fight different opponents. They shouldn't even have been on that stage together. If other guys weren't ducking and dodging, they wouldn't have been in that current setting, being interviewed and asking questions about that upcoming fight. Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson both made it known that these other guys like Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, and Danny Garcia, that didn't answer the call when Lamont Peterson and Errol Spence called. Now, no disrespect to Lamont Peterson, but we already know if it comes to Keith Thurman, well, not necessarily Keith Thurman, when it comes to Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter, their excuse will definitely be, well, why do I need to fight Lamont Peterson? He doesn't have a belt. You know, he was a WBA regular champion. And they both believe that they currently have a shot at Keith Thurman through the WBC. So you already know that would be their built-in excuse. But when you have a guy like Shawn Porter fighting Adrian Granados and Danny Garcia fighting Brandon Rios, I would prefer any day for them to replace those two fighters with Lamont Peterson so they could have had a more competitive bout. But we know they didn't go down that road. Now, the story with Errol Spence is all too familiar. Errol Spence has been calling out Keith Thurman since he was 15-0. He's been calling out Shawn Porter very aggressively, letting them know, he's been calling out Keith Thurman very aggressively. He let Shawn Porter know that he's willing to fight him as well. And the thing about me with the whole Shawn Porter thing that really bothers me is Errol Spence has Shawn Porter's old belt. And my thing is, you know, you lost that belt to Kell Brook. You were very upset that the IBF took you out of the rankings. Whatever particular politics that were going on with the IBF, you had an opportunity to fight Errol Spence, and you denied that opportunity. And it absolutely makes no sense to me, because the Porters have definitely stated in the past that, you know, they want to be the best, they want to unify, they want to be undisputed. But how the hell can you be undisputed at welterweight without capturing that IBF title? You can't. So at this point, it's just a smoke screen. It's just a smoke screen, and they're just talking out the side of their head, trying to say what sounds good in the media and what, you know, those cliche sayings that fighters are supposed to say in order for them to be taken seriously. Now, Danny Garcia, on the other hand, like, I don't even discuss the whole Danny Garcia ducking topic much, because my respect level for Danny Garcia before he got to welterweight was very minimal. His the way he's been carrying himself as a welterweight, especially after losing his title, it hasn't been the best. When he decided he wanted to step up and unify against Thurman, I could respect that fight all day long. But afterwards, he had an opportunity to get a title shot. Like right now, you're choosing to fight Brandon Rios over Errol Spence and getting the belt. You know, you were making an effort. You were making an attempt to unify with your WBC belt and that WBA strap. So I'm like, why not try to go after that IBF title and then fight Keith Thurman afterwards, especially when you just lost to him? Come on, man. You could have had all three belts on the line if you were able to beat Errol Spence. Even though I don't believe that would happen. I don't believe Danny Garcia believes that would happen, even though he says some crazy things in the media like Errol Spence needs to fight other guys before he fights him. like something that's completely ridiculous because Danny Garcia, your last fight, you lost, bruh. Like, you lost. You don't have a strong resume at welterweight when it comes to fighters that you've beat. Like, the guys that you fought haven't been top tier welterweights. The guys that you've beaten at welterweight haven't been top tier welterweights. So, he's just delusional when it comes to that. But now back to this whole Errol Spence Lamont Peterson fight. They definitely show a high level of respect for each other, and it's not that it doesn't come off as that type of scripted respect that most people would tend to have, and they're trying to be overly polite. They were very honest. They realized the dog and the competition level that they're facing. It's crazy because I've noticed other channels, they're writing Lamont Peterson off, and they're making it seem like Errol Spence is just going to steamroll him, and Lamont Peterson isn't on the level of these elite welterweights. But my thing is, I made a video previously about, what's worse, a ducker or a quitter. And in my opinion and other people's opinion, a ducker is worse. At least a quitter actually had the balls to get in the ring and square off, take a punch against this man. But you got guys like Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter that don't want any parts of Errol Spence, and they don't want parts of Lamont Peterson. So you got a guy like Shawn Porter, he's already lost twice. Lost to Kell Brook. He lost to Keith Thurman. The last thing he needs is another loss or a bad outing or something that people will perceive to be a gift decision. And it will just set the Porters back once again. And it seems like now they're in like, I don't know. It seems like they're racing against the clock. I don't know. It seems like the Porters are scrambling around trying to finesse their way into a title fight against Thurman because they feel like they possibly can have Thurman's number. But when it comes to anyone else, they don't want to speak on them. It's just crazy to me how you want to be considered the best, but you're willing to take a fight with Danny, but you don't want to go the Errol Spence route. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. But this fight for Nino Brown Boxing is a competitive fight. People saying that this fight is a mismatch, they're delusional. People out here, plenty of videos, people say that, they reviewed tape and they've done this and they've done that. I'm like, just because you say you reviewed tape, that doesn't mean your perception and the way that you analyze the tape, that doesn't mean you did it correctly. Now, Lamont Peterson has a lot of dog. He has superior boxing ability. He's been in the ring with some top guys, and has he lost some fights? Yes, absolutely. But he's still able to bring it. Now, I don't know about these guys, but I've seen Lamont Peterson in person. He's no small guy. To me, it looks like in between fight, he walks around at a lean high 170s. Now, you got a guy that's a lean high 170 pounder cutting down to 140, approximately 30 pounds off of his frame, and the majority of that is muscle. And you're putting him in you're putting him in the ring with guys that can comfortably make 140 pounds. Like, he's drained. And it seems like they're not really taking that into consideration, saying, well, when Lamont Peterson was in those big fights, he lost. And it's easy to be on the outside looking in, and for people that never cut weight. Now, have I ever cut weight? Absolutely. But as a boxer, no. More on the fitness side of like fitness competitions and stuff like that, and just cutting down in general. When you cut weight, you lose strength. If you're a boxer, if you're a runner, if you're a sprinter, if you're cutting weight, your strength drops down. I just know from personal experience, when I cut weight for the summertime, my bench press drops. And it's just one of those things, your physique tends to look better, but you're self-conscious about the lack of strength that you have. Now, for people that really don't understand that, or they pretend like they have a good understanding of that, until you actually do it, until you've actually cut weight to the point where you've gone from, a good amount of muscle mass to seeing fully developed, fully exposed, protruding abs, until you understand how it is to get that lean, you really don't have the experience to really speak on that. So Lamont Peterson cutting down to 140, to me, that was doing him a disservice. Now, do I feel like Lamont Peterson was doing that for a tactical advantage to be bigger than his opponents? Yeah, absolutely. Do I feel that it will help him some against Errol Spence, that he's 7 pounds heavier coming in the fight? I feel like it will help him in some areas. I still know that he'll have certain disadvantages, that it doesn't matter if he came in at 154 pounds against Errol Spence if he's 147. It's just Lamont Peterson doesn't have the amount of power. He doesn't have the amount of pop. But Peterson does have the ring experience. He does have ring generalship. You know, he's able to move around the ring, and he's just one of those guys, like he's a savvy veteran with a lot of dog in him. And I believe a lot of guys that are counting Lamont Peterson out, they're just ignorant. They believe that they know. They think they have the ability to analyze tape and analyze footage, but they're just fooling themselves at this point. To me, this fight will be a good scrap. I feel like this fight will end in stoppage, and it's not because there's no discredit to Lamont Peterson. It's just Lamont Peterson is going to take Errol Spence to a whole new level. He's going to put this Lamont Peterson fight is going to be a good showing for Lamont Peterson, but it's going to put the fear of God in the other welterweights such as Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, and Danny Garcia. It's going to put the fear of God in them because Lamont Peterson is going to bring a level of dog out of Errol Spence that we haven't seen before, and it's just going to be a spectacular showing. It's just going to be one of those fights where Lamont Peterson, he's going to take an L, but it's not going to be a bad loss. It's going to be one of those losses that, like, okay, you know, he took the loss, let him regroup, let him have a comeback fight, but we can definitely respect that loss for the fact that he took the fight. He fought his heart out. He put up a good showing of himself. He felt, you know, he's put it out there that he can hang with an Errol Spence, even though he was able to hang with Errol Spence as long as he could. But you put him in there with any other welterweight, it'll just be a 50-50 fight. That's what I believe is going to happen. Trust and believe. Do not sell Lamont Peterson short. If you do, you are fooling yourself. I got Errol Spence winning by stoppage between the 9th and the 10th round. That's just my opinion on it, guys. This is Nino Marone Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Peace.